As the trade talks keep picking up and Habs fans are waiting for a big move to set this team in the right direction moving forward, one name has resurfaced in an article, and that is Trevor Zegras from the Anaheim Ducks. And while the numbers don't paint a pretty picture on the surface, he has actually been much better than you realize, and we got the stats to back it up. And with his price declining, this is a perfect opportunity for Montreal. We'll be getting into that whole case. I know we'll each have some points on either side of the argument, so you'll want to stick around for that. But Jesse, we also got to talk about Raphael Harvey-Pinard. He is back in a full normal jersey at practice, coming back very soon. And another note on Ivan Demidov, who was once again benched. And we have some interesting comments from Roman Rottenberg. A bunch of cool stuff coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And I just want to start with Demidov. And it's happening again. Now today, Jesse, they played earlier this morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. And we noticed Ivan Demidov, well, he was bumped off the third line. He wasn't with his normal line mates. He was bumped down to the fourth line because, of course, he was. Why wouldn't he be? He's on like a 3-game pointless streak. How dare he? Anyway, here are the stats from Coach Frenchie. Coach Frenchie often posts these stats. So if you want to get these stats, go follow Habs Nation over on Twitter or X. But Demidov, he logged over 6 minutes in the second period, but he was benched for the third and overtime in a 1-0 shootout win. Xhekaj was on a pretty big skid. I think he says 4, but I think it might have even been 5. It was 4 or 5 game losing streak. Now they've been struggling to create offense, and what do you know? They struggled again today. Now it was a shutout by their goaltender, but Demidov once again didn't play in the third or overtime, Jesse, as the team couldn't score. Now we had some interesting comments from Rottenberg that I know you have some thoughts on, but I don't know how this keeps happening. We're still going to report on everything that happens with Demidov. I know it gets repetitive, so we won't spend too much time on this, but it still continues to shock me that a team that can't score goals refuses to put out probably their best goal-scoring opportunity creator.
And the only thing that's predictable from the Mercurial bench boss for SKA is that Roman Rottenberg is completely unpredictable, but Demidov remains the same. He still looked dangerous out on the ice, and his skill is clearly setting him apart. Like, he stands out on the ice like a Hercules, like a Greek god. Okay, we're not going to get too hyped up, but he's Demidov god for a reason here. It's like what we're really seeing from him is like he's just beelining it to the net every time he has the puck. He does it. He's not afraid once he gets the puck or making himself an option. He just going straight to the net every time, and he's daring the opposition to really stop him. So he's not cutting any corners in his play whatsoever. This is what's making him look so dangerous. But Josh, he's also had some comments on the situation in Montreal kind of recently as well, right? Like, He was kind of saying that, he's been keeping an eye on things, on what's been going on with the team, probably quite longingly waiting to get here. And he said, what's going on with Montreal? It's completely understandable that it's a young team and, that they're going to fix it, that they know what they need to do. But he's been keeping an eye. One name that he brought up was Lane Hutson, that he's been watching. Again, we've been talking about that combination between these two players, right? He's saying that he's been playing brilliantly on the ice. Again, two players that bring this elite level of talent. No wonder that they kind of be scoping out each other's game. So again, not just us, but also Ivan is so excited to be playing with Lane as well.
Yeah, and if you listen to Roman Rottenberg, though, there's no one over in North America that could possibly live up to the high level of talent the SKA wings. Some of those comments are kind of crazy, but still, I know he's looking long and he's like, I love Lane Hutson. Like, he loves watching him. We saw after he got drafted, he met Lane Hutson. We're also excited to see that stuff, but hey, it's going to keep rolling for Ivan Demidov, and all is good. I mean, yeah, even if he gets benched in the third and overtime, whatever, we still know what we have in him. We've had a big enough sample size now that it's just a waiting game, but still, let us know your thoughts down below as to why you think this keeps happening. Well, I think we all know why, but anyway, we'll move on to the next topic, and I want to talk about Raphael Harvey-Pinard. He is back at practice. Now, there's a lot of question marks surrounding when he's going to play. It has been confirmed by Marty St. Louis that he will not be playing on November 14th game versus the Minnesota Wild, which is an 8 p.m. Eastern start, if you didn't know. A little bit later than normal, but that's okay. They're playing in Minnesota. But we got some pictures. RDS, un retour au jeu bientôt pour Raphael Harvey-Pinard. And yeah, he is probably coming back very soon. I would say probably less than 2 weeks away. I'd argue maybe even less than 1 week away, Jesse. It's been so long since we've seen him. But the big question with Harvey-Pinard is where on earth... Wait, nope, that's the wrong one. Not Dawson. He's just there. He just appears in some videos. It's a little Easter egg, little Newfoundland Easter egg by accident. Where does Raphael fit in? I mean, here's the thing. You could probably send them on a conditioning stint to Laval. I think they can do that. I actually don't know the logistics or rules behind that. But you look at this team, Jesse. This team's stacked full up front. They got their 12 forwards, and they got Michael Pezzetta. I would assume you'd probably just loan Lucas Condata back down, and then you just bring in Harvey-Pinard, and then you just run I don't know. You run Newhook at centering his own line, because then you kind of have no one else. Harvey Bernard did play a bit of center when he probably shouldn't have for Montreal before. What do you think in terms of where he starts now that he's finally ready to go?
RHP, it's going to be tough. Like, a lot of people are saying that he might be on the outs with this team. And quite frankly, they might be right. But RHP is going to get his chance with the Montreal Canadiens to impress him. The reason for this is just that heart and soul that he brings. It's really, players that are bringing that are at a premium for the Montreal Canadiens. So that's kind of his calling card. And that's why he's going to really get this opportunity. Now, we know this is going to be a big one. Like, RHP knows as well. Like, he needs to get his opportunity, or very much his NHL career is on the line here. Mm-hmm. And that being said, it's like, this is also somebody that scored 14 goals in the NHL just to show how difficult it can be, right? So he has that touch. It's all about finding it, but we know RHP's game. We know how he's successful. It's very similar to Brendan Gallagher. He goes in front of the net. He gets to those dirty areas. He plays that tough, kind of game there, despite not being the biggest guy. Again, bringing that heart and soul. So he knows what he needs to do to be successful. We're seeing Gallagher being able to stick to that same plan and find, some wins early on in this season here. So that's going to be the big thing for RHP moving forward. He will get his chance.
It'll be cool to see. I mean, when he was first called up, that was a magical time watching him produce the level he was producing. So I'm excited to see him back, honestly. Hopefully back at full health. It'll probably take him a little while to get going. But what do you guys think he's going to slot in the lineup? I think sending Condada back down probably makes the most sense. That's kind of what we were thinking when we saw him called up. But hey, we'll just have to wait and see. But final topic today, Jesse. Now, I know this is a polarizing subject, so bear with me. Actually, we had a nice chat in our Habs Digest Rocket Richard tier group chat earlier about Trevor Zegras, and it's becoming a more real possibility. And just bear with me, okay? I got some stuff to back it up here. So, we got Pat Hickey from the Montreal Gazette just a few days ago said there's an ongoing clamor for the Canadiens to trade for Zegras, but he doesn't think the Habs are going to take that bet, saying Zegras is going to come in and be better in a different system. He said, you want a center who's defensively responsible and can win faceoffs. That isn't Zegras. The Canadiens should be, instead, considering an upgrade in goal. While I don't necessarily disagree with that, I wanted to push back a little on Zegras. Faceoffs, sure, he's not very good at faceoffs, but right now, Montreal's trying a lot of centers on the wing, and I know you do want centers long term, but you never know. He can maybe slot in on the wing at some point, or he could work with the new Habs faceoff guy, and maybe work his way up there with Burrows. But I want to go into some advanced stats, because you look at Zegras, you see 3 points. This is going to be a bit of a monologue, so bear with me. 3 points in 14 games, okay? That is not good. But the Anaheim Ducks are not good. Their new head coach, Cronin, is not very good, according to Ducks fans. They want him canned. This team is basically at the bottom of the barrel in terms of offense and defense, especially offense in terms of creating opportunities. The only guy in the team that's gotten any semblance of offense going is Troy Terry. But let's dive into the advanced statistics. If you look at the Ducks, expected goals, he's 5th on the team with 3.5. Maybe that doesn't impress you, okay? But he only has 1 goal, or even Gautier's 3.8, and he has 0 goals. The Ducks have opportunities. Zegras has opportunities. It's just not turning into goals. What about Corsi percentage, as in the percentage of on-ice shot attempts when you're on the ice? He's at 54%. Do you know where that would rank on Montreal? Second behind only, I think, Emil Heineman. So there you go. That's your thing there. On-ice expected goals, 52.9%, as in his team is expected to score at 53% of the time with him on the ice. That would rank tied for second on Montreal behind only Slafkovsky. Finally, on-ice high-danger shot attempts per 60 minutes, 5.25. Where would that rank on Montreal? Well, he'd be first by a mile, Jesse. He would be almost a full on-ice high-danger shot attempt per 60 above Alex Newhook, who currently leads the team. Plus, you talk to Ducks fans, they say he's been creating opportunities. It's just his line mates are not good, and he's been playing more defensively responsible. Monologue over. I still don't think I would give a lot to trade for him. But I'm just saying, if his value keeps dipping with this kind of production, it's not a bad time to be looking to see what you might be able to send over to Anaheim for.
The Montreal Canadiens need 3 things right now. They need better face-off support, they need better defense, and they need more heart and soul players, of which Trevor Zegras brings 0 of these 3 things whatsoever. 41 career % face-off win percentage over his career. So again, it's like, if we're looking to bring in kind of a second C, which is what we need, we're looking for a replacement on Kirby Dach on that. Either we're just keeping him there, but the worst part about that for Trevor Zegras, we know probably his offensive numbers will kind of continue to win up, but it's those face-offs is so fundamental for this team, again, of winning hockey games, of not chasing the game. The worst part for Trevor Zegras is that his best season at the Dach was in his first season, his rookie year. It hasn't been trending in the right direction. It's actually been getting worse over time there as well. So for me, that's why it's a pass on this player. You want to see him hopefully kind of figure things out in Anaheim, get a little bit better. But I think we need some specific things for this team, and Zegras just isn't a fit for that.
Chemistry does matter a lot. I saw a post today talking about why the Sabres rebuild didn't work and some other teams' rebuilds didn't work because players didn't fit well together. And right now, Montreal's biggest issue is winning faceoffs and defense. And you're very right that he doesn't do any of that. However, I'm a sucker for a guy that you could buy low on and get production that outweighs the amount that you're paying for him. Right. So I know his contract is like actually pretty big. He's what, in the sixes, I think right now. It's a smaller, shorter term deal. But like, if you can get him for like one of Montreal's mid-tier prospects and some decent draft capital, I don't think Anaheim would do that. That's where is there a price for you, Jesse, where if the Ducks did go down low enough and you look at Zegras' numbers and they're just like, look, I don't even want him anymore. Is there a price low enough where you would take a flyer on him?
Not for myself personally, just because if he's not that second line player, he's just going to kind of create that glut of we're looking for those top six type quality, and he's just going to kind of go into our bottom six, but he doesn't really quite fit the identity of what we really need there. So for me, unless it's a clear, obvious 2C type of fix, we already have so many players that are in that third line type of role where we really need to kind of improve on that. That's what the Montreal Canadiens, instead of creating more of a glut, which again, that's stopping those younger players from kind of developing in their natural roles in that bottom six. Like Zegras, should be a top six player in the NHL. He just hasn't been able to figure it out. They do have a little bit more of a defensive coach, which in Anaheim right now, which might benefit him in the long run if he's able to put that together. I mean, we've seen the Michigans, we've seen the skill they have. It's completely undeniable. It's just those other things. And if it wasn't such like a specific issue for Montreal where they need help of allowing less goals against per game, having, more face-off wins, obviously doing better. If they had other centers that were doing great in this way, you could maybe allow a guy that's not doing as well there and it doesn't hurt the team as much. But because it's such a need for this team, this is why Trevor Zegras isn't that proper fit.
That's a fair point as well. It's interesting to have a couple of very different, well, it's not even different opinions because I agree with absolutely everything you're saying. I'm just a sucker for something big to happen. And I want to hear all the fans' thoughts down below. Are you more on the page of like, look, if he goes cheap enough, why not do it? That's where I stand. I'm like, listen, maybe it's a hot take. I still want Trevor Zegras, but I wouldn't probably be willing to pay the price the Ducks want for him right now. But if his price continues to drop, I think that could get pretty cheap. Or are you more on the side of like, look, don't touch him with a 10-foot pole. He's not what the Habs need right now. And I can definitely agree. Play style wise, I don't think necessarily fits with what this team is trying to build long term. We'd love to hear from you guys down below. And I want to see like everyone talk about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below on all this stuff, and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all the support every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.